It's called Game Change. And I'm just going to read it to you. Game Change. Obama and the Clintons, McCain and Palin, and the race of a lifetime. Everyone is talking about this book, and we are fortunate to have one of the two authors, Mark Halpern, on with us today. Mark, we know very well because I used to come to you all the time, every time I had to do a political interview, because you were our political expert. So, here we are, and this is this book. There's so much in it. What do you think is the most shocking thing that people will learn?
I think two things. Pick one Democrat, one Republican. You know, people thought of Hillary Clinton as the big establishment candidate with all the backing, and Obama is kind of the underdog. What we found when we reported the book is, in fact, a lot of Democrats, Harry Reid, Chuck Schumer, the senator from New York, wanted Obama to get into the race to stop Hillary Clinton. He was, in fact, the guy with the backing from a lot of the establishment. Hillary and Bill had no idea until it was too late.
Why did they want to stop her?
Well, they were worried about Hillary for two reasons. One was they thought that she was polarizing, that all the baggage from the 1990s from the White House years would cause her to lose the White House and cause a lot of other Democrats to lose. She'd be a drag on them. But the other reason was they were worried about Bill Clinton's personal life. They'd heard a lot of rumors that he was behaving in a way that would come out after she was the nominee. They thought it would cost them the White House. They wanted someone in the race to stop him.
So the Democrats didn't want her. But then, when Obama was going to choose her as the Secretary of State, you write that she said, hey, you know, aren't you worried about my husband?
She
and
did.
Obama wasn't.
Extraordinary. Everybody knows how the story ends. She ends up being Secretary of
All
State.
the political posturing.
After being offered the job, to say no. She wanted to spend more time
Going
with
on
Chelsea.
behind the
Fired,
scenes.
and she thought Bill Clinton would be a real
No
problem.
one expected.
So she called him at midnight after
what
trying to get him on
really
the phone for a day.
happened.
Said, I don't want to do it. She said, my husband would be a problem.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Hello.
Bill's going to be a problem.
You know what happened? You're gonna have to
Secretary of State, good job, but she didn't think it was worth it, and she was really worried. He said,
well, you
Zoe
can
saying
catch
that,
it on the show, on The View.
That really bonded them.
We'll tell you just a few
She said, my
secret,
husband will be a problem. That's
notable
something she
things.
never said, because it's embarrassing.
Hello.
Speaking of sexual behavior, you say that Cindy McCain was having an affair.
Well, we were reporting the book is that John McCain's advisors thought that. She had been spotted in Phoenix
Here's some more
with another man, and they were really worried
greasy
about it,
gossip
because that would obviously be a big problem.
for you to put underneath your
You
pillow.
also said that it was a bad marriage. That they
Here's some
argued all
more.
the time.
Well, the people around them
Greasy
saw that.
gossip.
The people
Or you
around
can
them
save
saw
it
them
till
fighting
tomorrow.
regularly. She did not want him to run for president. She had a very bad experience when he ran in 2000. Attacks on their daughter, attacks on the family.
Hello,
She didn't want any
hello.
problems with her.
Are you there?
One of the other things in there that was pretty shocking was
Your
you wrote about
local
John and Elizabeth Edwards,
neighborhood
and you said that she was
gossip
much different in her
boy.
private life, that she was very abusive
It's in
to
the
her
book
husband.
right there.
But what we saw in the public was she was battling breast cancer. She was dealing with her husband's affair. Like Joy said, don't you get a pass?
Look, Joy is absolutely right that this is an incredibly sympathetic person. She lost a teenage son who died in a tragic accident.
Really?
She had cancer. She's one of the most iconic and brave cancer survivors we've seen in the country.
Yes.
But in talking to people around the Edwards, including people very sympathetic to Elizabeth, what we found is there's another side of her, a side that the public has never seen until our book, someone who was, even before the crises in her life, pretty abusive. She would refer to John Edwards as a hick. She'd make fun of his parents as being
What woman doesn't make fun of her
unsophisticated.
parents-in-law?
Well, there you go.
I want to ask you briefly mentioned Harry Reid before, and what do you think after his quote is out, it's obviously in the book, what do you think is going to happen? Have you heard anything?
Well, look,
Step
it's a pretty big controversy. We're a little surprised it set off this much controversy. I think as long as the president and the other Democrats stand by him, he'll probably stay in this. But it does point out, just even now that we have an African American president, all of these issues are still so raw and so tough to deal with, and very political as well, very partisan.
So now, have you gotten any heat from this? Is anybody calling up, screaming, coming after you?
Yeah, John Hamm and I have been political reporters for a long time. Part of why
What
we
do
were able
you
to do
think is
300
gonna
interviews and get a lot of
happen now?
cooperation is we know all
What
these
do
people and we've
you
known them for
think
years.
is
So far, I'm happy
gonna
to say a
happen?
few people have issued what we call in the business non-denial denials about the book, but I've gotten no angry emails.
Non-denial.
Write another one. That's the question.
Denial.
Another person you write about, and you do it here, and that is Sarah Palin, who has emerged, whatever people have said about her, and you talk about the fact that the McCain people hadn't a clue. They never talked about her foreign policy. When they were interviewing her, they were appalled by her behavior. You think this is going to bother anybody now?
You asked me at the top the biggest surprises, and for us on Palin was a huge surprise. Two levels. One is John McCain picked her barely knowing her. He'd met her a few times. He barely knew her. The amount of time they spent scrutinizing her background, we say in the book, was less than would get the Assistant Secretary of Agriculture. They didn't send anyone to Alaska to look in her background, and then they picked her. And then they found, to their surprise, she knew less about the world than they thought, and she had almost what some people thought was an emotional breakdown after that interview she did with Katie Couric. She was extraordinarily fragile, and they were really stunned, and right before the debate, they thought they could have a crisis. I'm sorry?
Terrified that something could happen and she could be president. But is this going to damage her now?
Well, we'll see. You know, Sarah Palin, like George Bush, Bill Clinton, is an incredibly polarizing figure. All the people who bought her book, I think will say, you know what, this stuff doesn't distract from how much we like her. But I think there are a lot of people who are going to see a side of her they've never seen, because you think about it, most of us never have met Sarah Palin. I've met her a couple times, but she's from Alaska. These national, you've met her, of course, Barbara, but most Americans don't have that privilege. These people we talked to for the book are some of the few people in national life who have been able to observe her up close and behind the scenes to see what she's really like, and we're able to tell that story in the book.
I actually found her to be very nice person. It didn't seem like she had it together and not broken down either. So
a lot of folks do. That's the most amazing thing.
I just want to say one thing before we close on that. I just had occasion to see Bill and Hillary Clinton. I've rarely seen a couple as devoted and as loving, and it wasn't fake, as these two people are now, whatever that says.
And that's been true throughout their marriage. And the portrait we paint in the book, he wanted her to win so badly, and part of the problem was that clouded his thinking.
If anybody knows time cues, you do. Thank you, Mark. The book is called Game Change, and it's in stores now. So I have a feeling it's going to do very well. We'll be right back.
While your life can be hectic, it's also enjoyable. You like to keep busy. You try to stay fit, and you do everything you can to get ready for your day. Why not?
A song by Paul Beckman, Palu Rainbow Song, created January 11th, 2010, using the guitar chords F and A. This song is going to be called All Kinds of Opinions Are Brought Up in the View. All kinds of opinions are brought up in the view. Just like you, I'm sure you would have some too. Well, there's 4 or 5 women on the view, and they really have new some things that are new. They got new opinions about this and about that. They go on about it, oh, just like a cat with 9 lives. Every time they get going, they might get someone's ire, but they have a way of working things out. No one will stay mad at anyone forever. They know there's lots of subjects and topics to cover. They gotta get their opinions out, but should they listen to each other? Well, sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they do, sometimes they most want to, but can't find themselves agreeing. So they start to spur with each other. They start to spar with each other like a mother and a father, arguing about things, but they're just friends, doing what they can to talk about things interesting. Almost anything can come across their purview for them to talk about. The View, The View.